numbered overtime. OT, baby. Big day at the Oval Office right now. A little private meeting with the Prime Minister of Israel and President Trump, and Sandra had the words of the hour. There's so much love.
I just don't think it's going to change the news headlines at all.
Oh, no, I was quoting you with the love part.
Oh, I like the love part. We need more love.
Kim Jong-un's brother was poisoned by needles and killed by two female assassins, one of them who looks like a friend of mine. I don't think it is her. That we were joking about it, the photos that came out. And that's not in. I just told you that. Have you read that today?
Yeah. It looked like your friend. No, I didn't read that.
There's a photo going around.
Like your friend.
It looked like my friend. I was
we did it on the air yesterday. We got it on the show again today. We've been all over that.
You've been all over it, but in the mainstream news on Twitter and stuff, it's not trending.
That's a big story. I mean, they have the woman in custody today. I think that looks like your friend.
Did we talk about it on this show today? We didn't.
Well, we kind of went to a bilateral.
I know. I'm just saying it's not.
Well, let's talk about it now.
Let's do it. It's fascinating. By poison needles. I mean, that's crazy.
No, it sprayed. It was an aerosol sprayed in his face, and then she came with the cloth and held it over his face afterwards at the airport.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. He was on his way to Macau.
Are we shocked though that that's happening there?
No, I
don't think it's breaking news that it could happen.
This is dictators being dictators.
Yeah. That's how they rule. I mean, if they weren't killing people, they wouldn't be dictators.
It's just
tell everybody what to do. You got to threaten to kill them.
We're not talking about benevolent dictators.
And they said that they don't want an autopsy done. The family doesn't want an autopsy.
Really?
So yes, because they're behind it.
They did it because they want to live too, and maybe there was a little. Maybe there were some resources
because they want to live too.
Yeah, maybe there were some resources or dollars. I mean, we talk about this, and I don't mean to joke about the death of someone.
No.
This has happened inside Russia too.
No one's
laughing. I mean, they knock off their own. They poison their food. I mean,
I'm not laughing
at a food taster in Moscow.
Something out of a movie.
What?
It is.
Who wants to be a food taster in Moscow? I mean, they do this to journalists.
That hasn't happened in Russia too, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, these are countries that are aligned.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's something out of a movie. Like I said, I'm not laughing at someone dying. Obviously, it's
some people are talking about the Russian spy ship that has made its way along the coast of Connecticut. And planted itself there. Your thoughts on that, Pete?
Well, I don't know enough about how often they come this close.
All right, so I can answer that question.
I don't know. Can you answer that?
I've done some brain
how often they have.
By all means.
This particular ship was off the coast of Georgia in 2015 doing some quote-unquote recon. They scoop us. When they come by with all their technology, they scoop what they can from us. They try to listen in. What's different about this is that they are doing what U.S. officials are calling, some sources on the record, some off, so I'll just put it this way, quote-unquote loitering. And it wasn't enough that they were 70 miles off the coast of Delaware yesterday. Overnight, while we were sleeping, they moved in 30 miles off the coast of Groton, Connecticut. And our home of the biggest force of submarines is that naval academy called, or naval submarine called New London. And so it's their movability, it's their comfortability along our coastline that is
This is kind of fun news that's happening. A senior White House source tells our own John Roberts that Robert Harward is expected to be named National Security Advisor.
That was quick.
Oh, wow.
He was seen as the leading contender. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you like him?
Navy SEAL. Yeah, he seems like a warrior type, which is what you would need. But you got to have someone who's prepared to deal with the tentacles of the NSA and all the coordination comes.
And he served under Mattis, right?
Yeah, I mean, so there's, I think,
I was really hoping for
Petraeus,
though. I love Petraeus. I just want him in any position at any point, anytime. I love him.
Do you think that Petraeus, I mean, his name has come up more than once. It's interesting. Maybe there's a place in this administration for him, but do you think we've gotten past some of the problems that he had?
You know, I have, but I'm so biased in my perspective on him. I'm one of those people that actually think it was a hit out on him by the Obama administration because Petraeus was so powerful and had a totally different vision of the war than obviously President Obama did. And I think he was so deeply unfairly targeted. Hillary Clinton did what he did, except a million times worse, and compromised our national security to an extent I couldn't even quantify right now. And he's still feeling the ramifications of it. And debatably Hillary Clinton is it. He is a genius. He's the architect of the surge. We would have won the war in Iraq and Afghanistan had we actually let him lead, and I still have complete faith that he can help us with our national security.
I am equally biased in favor of General Petraeus. No, I love him. He's the sort of the preeminent post 9/11 general of our generation,
Yes.
no doubt.
Wow.
However, he has also got a little bit of a different view of the world than maybe President Trump does. A little bit more of an internationalist, a little bit more of a nation builder, a little bit more of a counterinsurgent, whereas Trump has rejected some of those things. So it's not immediately clear that they overlap perfectly.
I don't want to miss the elephant in the room. You, too, were considered by this administration and probably still will be for different positions. I'm not saying that like I know a secret. It's true.
That was
I don't know
public.
a secret either. Well, yeah, it was public, and David Shulkin was confirmed as the Secretary of the VA, and I think he will be judged by his ability to implement a bold VA reform agenda.
Any chance for a deputy position?
Maybe. I mean, if the president asks you to help out, you most likely say yes. But it's more the opportunity to. I mean, we'll see. It's a young administration still. We were talking about this. We can make judgments right now based on the first 3.5 weeks, or give a younger administration of outsiders the ability to get their sea legs and get their arms around all the dysfunction of the last 8 years of the Obama administration. Not to mention a world that changes day by day and minute by minute, and departments some of which are full of appointees who are opposed, who burrowed into the bureaucracy and opposed to what new secretaries are trying to do. So the challenges are immense.
And as we said on air, the leaks are unprecedented. There are always leaks in administrations. This level is above and beyond. The problem with being a Republican in today's media is there's always a double standard. With Trump, there's a quadruple and a even beyond that standard that's being sent on him and his administration. But I would implore him to start putting some of the fantastic people who work in his communications department on air instead of just Sean Spicer.
For example,
Conway. Sarah Huckabee is a rock star. Amazing.
I heard her name mentioned today.
She was on Fox Business earlier. I was watching it in the elevator, and she is clean. She's tight. She knows her talking points. She's been doing it her entire life, and you know I love daughters have been doing it their entire life. Put her on air more.
So why
She's a
is
great
Sean Spicer the only
spokesperson.
I mean, is it time for?
Yes.
Is there room for a little deputy to come in? I'm big into the deputies because it allows everybody at the top to regroup. So maybe the deputy.
Just
our
people
secretary?
that maybe have had more sleep and aren't going to say,
I mean, you have to refresh.
Our president, when you go on TV and you say our president has entirely behind General Flynn and 3 hours later he resigns, there's some communication problem happening in the White House.
I have to get this to you because I can't even approach this. Like, this is way in your wheelhouse. So MOS 18A says Russia deploys a banned cruise missile. We should deploy a mechanized division with air support to Ukraine to train the Ukrainian military on the weapons we sell to them. Maybe Putin's blood pressure will rise and his head, well,
yeah,
I'm sure you mean figuratively.
Yeah. Well, we have ceased to play the geopolitical game against Russia for the last 8 years.
Do we have anybody in place in the president's cabinet who can do this?
Well, James Mattis.
Okay.
You've got plenty of people that understand what Russia's intentions may be. Obviously, Russia is a whole other subject. But ultimately, we've ceded Crimea, we've ceded Ukraine, we've ceded Russian initiative in Iran, we've ceded Russian initiative in Syria, and not pushed back. So things we used to do, like deploying a mechanized unit or others to the border to show as a show of force, are things I think this administration could and would still consider. But, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, I just thought it was so specific. I was curious to get your thoughts. Yeah, I mean, if you're in Ukraine, you wonder if we care, or have we done some things I don't know about?
Well, you wonder.
They're petrified.
I think you wonder if you care with both administrations, right? Because Obama wasn't.
And again,
paying
that's
attention.
the great irony of this.
Well, I'm saying the previous administration.
Democrats didn't care at all. I mean, all of this happened under Obama, and he could not have cared less.
Well, President Trump has said that.
Yeah, in the 80s called and they want their foreign policy back. And remember, Russia's not a real threat.
Yeah, it's not fair to put all the responsibility on President Trump at all. And again, we don't know where he lies with the Ukraine and with the Baltic states at all. But the expansion of Putin and the rise in Russian power happened in the last 8 years under Obama's watch, and not only did he not care, but he didn't care when human rights violations were egregiously being done globally. So the idea that Democrats now care because of political
he wanted an Iran deal. No, that's what it all came down to.
It is true.
He needed the Security Council. He needed all of that. He gave Russia cover and let it all happen.
What happens with the deal? I mean, you heard what President Trump just said with Israel's prime minister standing next to him, that he is dedicated to preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon. He said, ever. I mean it.
No, I think that deal is out the window without question. I mean, it's just it's more a question of how you execute on that idea, you know, where he's saying...
Well, they get to
going
keep the money, because we can't get that back.
Who put them on notice doesn't work there anymore.
You know,
that's what's worrisome.
I told a
Mike
friend
Flynn,
of mine
remember?
that.
I mean, he was the one who said everyone's on notice, and that was like the strong message out. Now he doesn't work there. I mean, it's...
But I think that message will probably continue.
I think so too, yeah.
I'm sure, but it just they need the execution of that now is cloudy.
I forgot about that. All
Thank
right.
you, Pete Hegseth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies,
Great
very
show.
much.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.